Hello, Rebels. This is Attorney Augustus Corbett, aka the Minister of Justice. And with me I have
Attorney Chloe Corbett, aka the Duchess of Justice.
And we are the Defiant Lawyers. We provide legal analysis of trending politics, policies, personalities, and pop culture so that you will have information to defy an unjust legal system. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. All right, with that said, Chloe, why don't you tell everyone what we're going to be talking about today?
Today we're going to be talking about actor Alec Baldwin and whether or not he can be held civilly or criminally accountable for the accidental killing of a cinematographer on the set of his movie that was filmed in New Mexico. If you're ready to hear our answer, please stay tuned after this introduction.
All right, very good. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Me too. Let's get it.
All right, so we're going to talk about the situation that just recently occurred with Alec Baldwin, the actor. All of you probably know him and have seen him in many movies and Saturday Night Live, etc. But he had a very unfortunate situation to occur on a set of a movie that he's shooting. I think it was yesterday, where two people were shot with what they call a prop gun. And unfortunately, one of those people died. And so Chloe and I are going to do a legal analysis of that situation. And so that, as we said in the introduction, so that you will have the legal information you need to know how to try and avoid a similar situation at your workplace or at your home. Because, look, no one will want to be in that situation. So, Chloe, maybe you can start us off with an introduction.
Yeah, so I saw his name trending all day yesterday, and it's still trending today on Twitter. It's the number one trending topic. And like a lot of millennials, I get a lot of my information and news from Twitter. And so when you see a celebrity name trending on Twitter, the first thing you think of is, oh no, has this person passed? Has there been a death? But as I started to scroll through my timeline, I saw that Alec Baldwin, apparently while filming his movie, like you said before, in New Mexico, he was using a prop gun while filming the movie, and he injured the director, and he killed the cinematographer.
Well, let's say that's alleged at this point, but yeah, that's certainly what they are reporting.
Yes, that's what's being reported. There's a lot of details that we don't know about. I read that one of the district attorneys in New Mexico said that they're still doing a preliminary investigation. So I'm sure we'll continue to learn more as information continues to come out. I did recently see that he released a statement where he apologizes for the accident. He said that he has been in touch with the deceased woman. I think her name is Helena Hutchison's husband and child. And he is just heartbroken over this. So we wanted to hop in here and really give our legal rebel community an analysis in two different areas of this situation. The first is whether or not Alec Baldwin can be held civilly liable or accountable for the alleged accidental killing of this woman and the injury to the director. And secondly, whether or not he can be held criminally liable. So let's focus on the civil liability first. And when we say civil liability, what we're meaning is, can this woman's family, go after Alec Baldwin to try to get money compensation for her death? And not only the question is, can they go after Alec Baldwin, but can they go after the production company that is sponsoring the movie? Can they go after the executive producers? And if they can, what would be the legal reasoning for them to be able to get some type of money compensation? So the first thing I wanted to get into, Dad, is the legal theory of negligence. Can you introduce negligence for our audience?
Sure. I think you did a very good sort of contextual analysis there of the situation that Mr. Baldwin is in. And by the way, thank you for pronouncing his name correctly, because I would have been saying Alex. But I did see that the spelling is Alec. It's ALEC, right?
Yes, that's a spelling. I had to learn it myself. I wasn't sure either.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, negligence. So this would, if it ends up in court, it would probably be a wrongful death case. And let me give this disclaimer. Chloe nor myself, neither one of us are licensed in the state of New Mexico. Is that where you said this happened?
New Mexico.
Yeah, neither one of us are licensed in the state of New Mexico, so we don't know New Mexico's law. So we're going to have to analyze it from the Texas perspective and sort of from a general perspective. But generally, negligence requires that there are four elements are met. Number one, that a person had a duty to act in a certain way, that that person breached that duty or violated that duty in some way. Third of all, that person's breach of that duty caused someone else, the fourth element, which are damages. So if the estate of the deceased woman and the injured woman can prove those four elements, then they would have a strong case. Again, the estate and the family of the decedent would have, like most likely, a wrongful death case, and the injured lady would have a negligence case, a personal injury case. This also could come under, again, we don't know New Mexico's law. This also could come under workers' compensation potentially. And Chloe and I don't practice in that area, so I really don't have a lot to say about workers' compensation. But that's a general spiel of negligence. Again, duty, breach of duty, causation, and damages.
Yeah, and I want to break down those elements a little bit more and kind of put it in um, a term or a situation that most people are usually familiar with. So when people think
Well,
of personal
of course you do. You have the younger mind, so
because I'm like, people are listening. I really want to make sure that we make it relatable to them, you know.
sure.
So when people think of personal injury attorneys, they typically think of car accident lawyers, right? Kind of, or and even negatively ambulance chasers, unfortunately. But the theory of negligence usually comes up within a car accident case. So here in Texas, anyone who gets behind the wheel of a car, they have a duty to follow the rules of the road, to be safe, to make reasonable decisions. So that is the duty that anyone who drives in Texas has to other drivers on the road. So that would be the first element of negligence here in Texas for a car accident. When I get behind the wheel of my car, when you do that or anyone else here in Texas, we have to follow the rules of the roads and be safe. And when we don't follow the rules on the road, or when we run a red light, or when we are on our cell phone, then we have then breached that duty that Texas law gives us. And if we breach the duty and then we cause damage to someone else, we hit someone else's car, and they suffer injuries or have to go to the hospital, then they can sue us personally for breaching the duty, for causing them injuries, and for the damages that come from that. So, and not only does these four elements apply to car accidents, but they apply to what happened here on the set of this movie theater where um, Alec Baldwin allegedly killed someone with a prop gun. It could happen if you enter into a store. Let's say you go to Target and you fall because of some condition on the ground. So the theory of negligence really kind of encompasses a lot of areas in our life. And what it basically is saying is, look, there was an accident that happened. Someone had a duty to you. They breached that duty, and you're wanting to hold them liable for the damages that you suffer.
Yes, very good. And I'm also glad that you mentioned premises liability, because that could also be a basis of any particular legal action that is taken out against Alec Baldwin or the employer, the producer. There are a number of people who could be held liable here. But yes, premises liability, wrongful death, personal injury, workers' compensation. There are a number of ways that the estate, the family, and the injured person could try and get compensation. Now, you said earlier that sometimes folks think of lawyers as ambulance chasers, right?
I knew you were going to bring that up. Yeah, because we have strong feelings about this.
Yeah, because it's well, look, you got bad apples in every profession, so of course
Yeah.
there are people for certain who sort of chase ambulances, no question about it. But I want to offer another way of looking at this. Um, the decedent, the woman who died in this matter, there's nothing that Mr. Baldwin or his employer or anyone else can do, unfortunately, to bring her back. So the law's only recourse is that her family gets financial compensation. I think you said, Chloe, that she was married and has a child. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. That's right. She had a young
Well,
child.
both the husband and the child have now lost their mother. The child lost his mother, his or her mother. The husband lost his wife, and everything that comes along with losing a wife and or a mother. And so the only way to compensate these people for that loss, if it turns out that Mr. Baldwin is responsible negligently, is that the family receives financial compensation.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings me to another part of this case, and that is whatever insurance there may be.
Yeah.
Typically, in situations like this, there is insurance. Mr. Baldwin has insurance. The producer, the directors, all the folks who are involved in filming this movie are probably all insured. The production company, the company, I don't know what you call them, but the actual the company that is paying all the bills
Yeah.
for filming this company, that company uh, also probably has insurance. And so this may be a situation where the case doesn't even end up in court because they may be able to reach some sort of settlement with the insurance company or companies before filing a lawsuit. So
And
yeah, we just need to see how this is going to play out.
another entity could be the city where they were filming at. They may have had to get permits to film in that city. Um, Municipalities typically have insurance. It's a little bit harder to sue cities because a lot of government agencies and government officials have immunity. But that could be another entity that this woman's estate could try to go after with the insurance company to try to get compensation for her husband and child. So, in short, Alec Baldwin could be held civilly liable for allegedly killing this woman into her estate. There needs to be a lot more information that comes out though, because determining whether or not he breached his duty or whether there was causation, it requires looking into a lot of facts and investigation. So when we take on a personal injury case, we have to do a lot of investigation. Sometimes we hire investigators. If it's a accident case, we may hire
And
an
and and
accident reconstructionist.
in almost all the cases, we have to hire investigators.
Yes, it's yes, yes. So investigators and accident reconstructionists, any other experts in different fields to make sure that the elements of negligence can be met, which again are simply duty, breach of duty, causation, damages. So we'll continue to monitor the situation and give updates to our community, to our legal rebels, as more information comes out. But do not be surprised if you hear in the news that Miss Hutchins' estate or her husband files a lawsuit against Alec Baldwin or any of the other entities that we mentioned before.
All right. So with that said, let's move now to whether or not Mr. Baldwin can be held criminally liable. And the short answer is yes, he can be. My very best guess from an outside perspective, I don't have any facts. I don't know the law in that jurisdiction. So this is just a guess, basically, would be that unless there is some intentional behavior on Mr. Baldwin's part, there's a good chance, or some recklessness, or even in some cases, some negligence can end up in criminal court. But usually it takes some, pretty gross negligence or some just outright recklessness if there's no intentional behavior. So my best guess is that there likely would not be criminal charges. And if there are criminal charges, in the unlikely event that there are criminal charges, my guess would be that those charges don't go very far. Mr. Baldwin certainly would not be facing most likely any jail time. But again, we don't know the facts. We don't know what happened. We're speaking from sort of secondhand information here, but that's my best guess. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree. And I want to highlight for our viewers how criminal charges are typically even brought up. So there's usually two entities that can bring criminal charges: the police or the district attorney's office. So far from what we've seen, Mr. Baldwin has not been arrested for any criminal charges. I'm sure they're doing an investigation. We know that the district attorney's office is investigating now. But if he's not arrested and if the police do not bring criminal charges, then the other entity would be the district attorney's office, or even the federal government can bring charges as well. I don't see that happening here. It would likely either be the local police in New Mexico, in the city where it was being filmed, or the county district attorney's office. So we'll continue to monitor what comes out from the district attorney's office. But I agree with you, Dad, that he probably won't face any serious charges like murder or manslaughter based on the information that we have now. I'm sure they're doing a lot of investigation, looking into what exactly happened, because so far we've only heard from Mr. Baldwin and some anonymous sources from what I've seen. So I'll be interested to see what the investigation brings forth. One thing that I forgot to mention that I wanted to bring up on the civil side is I wonder, the manufacturer of the prop gun, was there something that happened with the prop gun?
Great point. Great
Because
point.
they may, even if they don't go after Mr. Baldwin, they may need to look into who manufactured that prop gun and what happened with it.
Great point.
Yeah.
Great point. Yeah. That's when we are handling these kinds of cases, I mean, you look at everyone who could be liable. And
Yeah.
oftentimes it is a list of people.
Yeah.
And you end up having numerous defendants and plaintiffs, especially when someone loses their life or are seriously injured. So that's a great point. It could have been some sort of malfunctioning with the prop gun. We just don't know. But the attorneys for the decedent and for the injured party will get to the bottom of all of that, and then I'm sure act accordingly.
Yeah. And that's a specific area of negligence law as well. Defective products. There are some attorneys that focus specifically on products that are defective, that cause injuries to a person, and that's the area of personal injury that they litigate. So I'm sure that whoever the the attorney the family hires is going to be looking into that whole list that you just mentioned above.
All right, very good. So we're not going to take a long time on this very first Defiant Lawyer broadcast or show that we're doing here. I think it's been about 15 or 20 minutes or so. And I think we did a fairly thorough analysis of what could happen in this case, given the facts that we know at this point. But like Chloe said, we will certainly stay abreast of this and as appropriate come back and do further legal analysis. So listen, the takeaway for you legal rebels is that you be careful on your job, not to hurt anyone, certainly not to hurt yourself. And always be thinking about, what could go wrong if I do this, or what could go wrong if I do that. If you invite someone onto your premises, make sure your premises are safe. Make sure that there is no dangerous condition on your premises that could cause someone injury. Because if you invite someone onto your premises and they get hurt while there because of some dangerous condition that you were aware of, you could be held civilly liable. Doubt very seriously that you'd be held criminally liable, but you could certainly be sued in civil court. So that's another takeaway here, Chloe. Perhaps you got a takeaway from this as well.
Yeah, be careful. Be careful, because even if you were not intending to cause injury to someone, if those elements are met, then they could come after you civilly. So that's what the law allows, even for accidents. So it's important to act as reasonable people as we go about our lives. Make sure we are aware of the laws in your state or whatever city that you live, and also make sure that you're insured as well, because the contract that you have with the insurance company typically will, depending on the contract that you have, will pay out if a person gets injured because of your actions, provide a legal defense or legal or lawyers to represent you. So it's important to have insurance too for that extra protection. So yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just going to say, yeah, this is all that we know so far. This is only the second day that this case has been out, but we will continue to keep you updated as more information comes out.
Okay, now let's end this by telling folks why they should become subscribers and they should be checking with us with this particular show, with this particular YouTube channel, the Defiant Lawyers. I would say because, as we said in the introduction, we're going to be critically analyzing from a legal perspective politics, policies, personalities, and pop culture so that we can give you information, legal rebels, to help you defy. As we're Defiant Lawyers, we want to train up a nation of defiant Americans who know how to take on this legal system for themselves when things are when they are the victims of some sort of injustice. And the legal system, we can tell you, we know firsthand working in it and from our own personal experience that the legal system can definitely be and oftentimes is an unjust system, especially for certain minorities. So the law controls our lives in many ways, and you need to be informed with the law, and that is the purpose of this show. Now, we're intending to do videos on Mondays and Wednesdays of every week. We know Monday for sure. The second, we know twice a week for sure. Monday will be one day. We may change from Wednesday to Thursday, but as of right now, it'll be Monday and Wednesday. Okay. So again, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you will get notified when we upload the videos. Okay.
And we want to hear from you. Let us know what topics you want us to talk about. Have you ever had just a question about a legal topic, why something happens in the law? Comment down below. We want to hear from you. We want to answer your question. Please share this video with your friends and family as well. We want them to become a part of the Legal Rebel community so that we can join up together and make sure that we defy all of the injustices that are in the legal community. So welcome.
So we're trying to build a community of legal rebels. You ought to join that community because we're going to empower you with some awesome information. Okay. All right. So we are done and we are out of here. You all have a very, very good week. All right.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.